Hi, I'm Steph, the BMW DIY guy, and I want to show you the brand new BMW XM. All right, guys, let's talk about this. I couldn't be more excited to get hands-on with this car. I had a brief preview just a couple of weeks ago when this was just off the truck, and now it's ready to go. We get an opportunity to do a full walk around today, plus take it for a drive. And what a cool opportunity here at BMW Seattle, because BMW has not made a standalone model in a long time. You'd have to go all the way back to the BMW M1 to see a standalone model from BMW. So this is not like where you go and look at an X3 or an X3M, you know, or a 3 Series or an M3. This is an entirely different animal. BMW has taken all those lessons learned, all of that technology, and put it into a brand new platform here in the XM. This is a 653 horsepower hybrid monster. So it adds all kinds of the technology that you know and love in a bunch of the different models and puts it into a new platform. I can't wait to get behind the wheel on this, but I also want to give you an opportunity to walk around the car in a little bit greater detail and see some of the design choices. BMW has been very bold in this. They've made all kinds of new choices. Even the roof line on the inside of this car is cool. I can't wait to show you. So let's go ahead and get started on the outside, and then we're going to take it all the way around and we're going to take it for a drive. As always, let's start on the outside, and this is a very distinct front end. And of all the colors I've seen, this black on black, I think it's really nice. Now, you're gonna see similar design elements that you would see in the X7s and some of the new X5s. I really do like the illuminated kidney grills, and the split headlights that you see in, like for example, the new X7s, I think look really good in this car. So your halos aren't really halos anymore, they're kind of eyebrows, along with the headlights underneath. But all in all, looks really good. Now, this black on gold accent of this particular model, I really like. Now, you have adaptive suspension. You can see the door for your plug-in hybrid, so you have the best of both worlds there. And this faceted design language that you see throughout the entire car, I really want to call out, even as you see on the running boards. You can see the split here between the front door and the back door. You can even see in the door grip itself, this faceted design language throughout. It's a very bold choice in this car, but I think it works really well. Now, I really do love the new taillights. Now, my camera never captures them as well as the human eye does, but I also do like the kind of throwback accents on the glass. So you see the roundels actually on the back glass. And then a very distinct difference. Not that anyone's gonna mistake an XM for something that it's not, but quad exhaust, but stacked. That is definitely different here in the XM, and you don't see that in other M models. I really do like the taillights all the way across. It's kind of very industrial sort of design, that they're very bold colors. And you combine that with the black car, so you get the black on black of the lights plus the black car. I think it ties in together really well. The one thing about all the faceting, you can see even on the door handles, you can get reflections that look really sharp throughout. Now, this car's really growing on me. Initially, I was trying to understand what BMW was doing with this, but it is a very interesting, very bold car. And now, as we get back to the front, I really do like it from the front with this black car and then the halos as well. And the lit kidney grills looks really good. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the motor. So when you look at the hybrid cars, you really kind of get the best of both worlds. You get that instant performance of the electric motors and range extension, but this, you have a 4.4 liter V8. So you're gonna get that really high-end power, plus 590 foot-pounds of torque. So that is a lot of power packed into this car. Motor looks really good. I actually, you know, sometimes the engine covers, because this is just decorative, but I like that. It looks really good, and I like the way the air boxes are tucked back. You raise the hood on this, it looks really good, and I kind of like the fact that it kind of ties in together with the rest of the color accents throughout. But this is a really solid motor that's going to help propel this car to what you would expect from M car performance, regardless of this car's size. All right, so let's go ahead and walk around. Let's take a look at the inside. So something to notice first as we get in here, that the kind of angular design language that BMW has used throughout the car even translates into the interior as we get in. So you're going to see these same angular designs in the seats, throughout the dash, and even in the headrest. Now with the roof lighting, I love how it kind of accents the facets itself of the roof material. We're going to get a closer look here in just a second, but I didn't want you to miss right here when you open both doors. I really do like the small touches, the embossed M logo, even in the subframe here underneath the doors that you're only going to see when the doors are open. So let's take a look at the dash, the seats, and all of the technology. As we get into the interior, BMW really describes this new model as an extrovert with its new faceted design and aggressive design language. And you can see it throughout the entire car. Even the framing around the heads-up display here, which is very difficult to see on camera, but even the framing is this angular, faceted design throughout. And you can see it through the door pulls, through the seats, absolutely every element, even in the stitching in the seats itself. Now, I really do like these sports seats. These are that right combination of comfortable but kind of high bolsters, so you get that best of both worlds if you want to drive a little bit more aggressively. Now, this car does have the Bowers & Wilkins speakers upgrade, and I really do love the light-up speakers. I think that's a nice touch. I think that's really, really cool. Now, very familiar iDrive design you've seen here in the G series. So the M3s, the M4s, and the rest of the newer G series. This is very familiar in controls as you look through it with your exhaust flap controls, your M controls, because it being an M car, through your setup, your parking and distance, traction control, start, stop, all your usual sort of things through your normal iDrive control. But one of the biggest things is going to be, of course, your central display. And this new 12.3-inch central display, along with the matching controls here in the center. Now, I really do like this upgrade. This is a significant upgrade over time. BMW continues to enhance and innovate their iDrive controls, but this is now your primary display. So it's not tiles as we've seen over time or other rolling options. This is your primary display. If you want to get in deeper, you can start to get into all of the various different kind of icon-based as you would expect from, you know, all of us being familiar with either Apple or Android products. We're now starting to see what looks like app controls, right? So windows and doors now looks like an app as you get into it. You can control all of your functionality that you would expect, but kind of broken into segments instead of menus, if that makes sense. So exterior lighting, interior lighting, and so on. I'm a big fan of the interior lighting. I really do like this. In the ceiling, like I said, I mentioned a moment ago, you have so many different colors that you can go through. I mean, I love the fact now, I'm kind of that classic BMW orange, I'm a big fan of, but as you look at it and you can see how that changes throughout the entire car. So there's the indigo blue, and let's go back to lavender. That is really cool. And it changes throughout all of the dash elements and all the rest. So yeah, I know it's a small thing, but I really, really like it. Okay, so this new iDrive is really, really impressive as they continue to innovate. Now, one of the things I love about these larger screens is the effect it has on your controls themselves. So when you look at things like your backup camera and parking and 360 camera, suddenly you have this huge amount of real estate that you can use instead of, you know, a 6.5-inch screen, which would be about this, or even the 8.5. And you get into the, you know, the X5s and X7s that have larger and larger screens, but this really is the way to go. This includes, of course, your driving controls here, which are going to change as you work with the car. And as you go through your different modes, you're going to see your controls here change. So let's go ahead and start, as you can see. Now, you're going to see a little bit of flickering here. This is, again, my camera, and it's the sensors in the display itself. This is only being captured by my camera. Now, well, I'll get a sample of the exhaust before we take it out for a drive, but it definitely sounds muscular. Now, I really love how all of your controls here will change through and change your central dash. What a cool aspect, and it can allow you to focus on really what you want to do. The heads-up display will change as well, which we really can't see on camera, but it allows you to go through all those different modes. I do like, if you notice, I make sure I want to point it out. So we went into track mode. You notice? Everything went red. What a cool touch, BMW. I love that. It's like, you know, here we go. We're in red mode. Get ready to go. All right. So let's get a sense of what this sounds like, but I do want to show you the back seat because it's especially comfortable. You know, one important thing about an SUV this size is it's not just you. You're going to be hauling around other people, maybe your family. So being comfortable here in the back is really going to be important as we get in. Now, of course, as you would expect, heated seats and all of the options you could possibly have, but I really do love how sitting here in the back, you get the effect of the faceted roof along with the lighting. It's really pretty. I know this probably sounds funny to say, but it looks really good and super pretty. And I actually like it being a little bit dark red at the moment, so you get an idea of the lighting effects, even including the Bowers & Wilkins speaker system. So I love the thought they've put in here into the design here in the back. You have all the options that you would expect for technology, heated seats, and all the rest. But this is definitely going to be a comfortable ride for all of your passengers as well. So I'm really impressed by this car. Let's go ahead and jump into the back. I'm going to show you the back a little bit, and let's hear what it sounds like, and let's take it for a drive. As we look at an impressive amount of storage space here in the back, the one thing I did want to point out that I think is actually kind of cool, it comes with XM luggage. You know, you're taking that day trip, you've got your matching luggage. So I like it. This really is an impressive build for the size of this car when you're looking at kind of an X7 size, but you're looking at really a different generation all the way around with all of this technology and all of this horsepower. Now on that note, let's check out what it sounds like. All right, guys, so let's take this out for a drive. I'm going to take us on the pretty typical loop that I normally do with all of my BMW test drives. I'm going to be really interested to see how this car feels now that we can actually take it out for a drive. Whew, quick. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that whenever I do a test drive like this really is just kind of an out and back of what it would be like if you could do the same. And this car is also still well within its break-in period. So, and I'm always going to drive respectfully. The one thing I'm very much aware of, and I'm really grateful to BMW Seattle to give me this opportunity to actually drive cars like this. So I'm always going to drive them respectfully. Plus, the other thing is how many times actually I've demoed a vehicle and I got followed up with people later that are like, hey, I bought the car that you did the demo in. So I definitely want to show the next future owner, you know, that I took their car out and treated it respectfully. So let's take you out on a loop and give some of its impressions to drive this brand new, unique BMW XM. Ramp here as we're dealing with game day traffic here in Seattle is this is a deceptively sharp on-ramp. And if you take this inside lane, this first turn in is really sharp. And I like to be able to do it because it gives you kind of a sense of how the car moves in tight traffic. So, and I'm all in comfort mode right now. Well, as they talk about the most powerful BMW in production, yeah, that's not too surprising. Even just a little bit of acceleration was impressive there. So you guys are gonna have to forgive the little bits of extra traffic here today, but I always do the same route to kind of get a sense of what it would be like with every single different model. But all in all, here we go, guys. Yep. And that's in comfort. Yeah, so not bad. So very little body roll around those sharp corners. Now, granted, we were really low speed, but let's give you a little bit more of kind of the sights and sounds of Seattle as we go here. And then we'll try my favorite on-ramp back here in a little bit. So this is really comfortable to drive. You know, coming out of a small car like my own personal M2, you know, this really could be, you know, it would be hard to be a bigger transition. But lane keeping is really straightforward. It really is not an issue. Now, the only bad news that I've got right now, my favorite on-ramp, as we're going to cycle over to it, I actually see a Washington State Patrol sitting there. So we will have to make the best of what we can here today. But you know, driving this has been really easy. The transition has been really simple. You definitely sit up much higher. This feels like a much higher posture than most BMWs. So even in the X5s, you don't feel like you're sitting up quite a bit. This one definitely has that feeling where you have a higher driving position. Now, granted, you could adjust your seats and do all of that, but Really not bad, really not bad. All right, so we're gonna come over here. Normally this is my favorite on-ramp, but I just happened to see a undercover Washington State Patrol sitting here. So we're gonna be a little bit more mellow today than what we normally are, I'm afraid. Wave hello and say hello, officer. Well, that's too bad, but we will do the best we can here. You know, one of the amazing things about these modern BMWs is how variable they're going to be. And, you know, for all the criticism of drive-by-wire, right, for both acceleration and steering, you know, you don't have that mechanical connection anymore. The difference really can be pretty amazing. So the drive so far has been in comfort, everything, and I just switched it up to M2, which is Sport Plus everything. And the difference in the steering wheel feel is just immediate, especially changing it while driving. I mean, it was very soft and very easy to move. Now it has a much tighter feeling. You can feel the way that the drivetrain and suspension changes. Now, as we go back across the bridge here in Sport Plus mode, so all of the chassis set as rigid as it's going to be, there is quite a bit of difference from the previous direction where we came across in comfort. All of the normal, you know, bridge deck here was smooth. You really couldn't feel it. And the expansion joints were just kind of a soft bump. Now you have a much more feeling of the road. I can feel the little bit of imperfections in the road here, and the expansion joint bumps are a much sharper bump. So you can tell when it really, that adaptive suspension is really drawing in the chassis and making it much more rigid so you can drive a little bit more enthusiastically. The one thing I do love about the adaptive suspension is you can vary depending on who you have in your car, which can be really nice. You know, sometimes I've had different models of BMWs where, you know, sometimes the ride was a little too harsh. You know, E46 M3s, I'm looking at you. They were definitely pretty harsh, and there was really no good way to easily change that. And, you know, for passengers not used to it, it could be a bit of a shock. So it is really nice with the adaptive suspension, the differences that you can make. All right, y'all, so back to the dealership, and I kept the backing up part of the video in, specifically because I wanted to see what it was like to put this car into a narrow spot. I mean, I've got a brand new iX on one side, and I've got a big concrete post on the other, and had no problem putting this car right back to where we started from. And all of the technology, and this is where some of these things really start to come together. You know, things like this brand new, really big screen, your ability to have all of the parking sensors and the 360-degree cameras, and this big screen, and the side sensors, and everything else. You can see exactly where you are to put it right into the correct spot. So I really do love technology like this, and this is a great combination of it all. Now, I wish I had more time, as always. It's always fun to take out the brand new models, and this is really something different for BMW, appealing to a different kind of owner as well. This isn't the M version of an existing line. This isn't an X3M or an X5M or taking an X7 and, you know, making it an M version. This is the first standalone M version from BMW since the M1. This isn't the same. This isn't, you park it next to an iX. It's not the same car with some additions. So this is definitely appealing to the right kind of buyer, where you get that combination of size, being able to, you know, take this many and maybe have a little bit larger family, and you still get all of that performance that we got a little bit of a taste of out on the drive, especially the difference between comfort mode and sport mode, depending on where you are and what environment or how enthusiastically it is you want to drive. As always, I wish I had more time in the car, but this really is a sense of what it's like to take it out for a quick test drive, and I highly recommend you do the same. This has been a fantastic drive today, and I'm really grateful, as always, to BMW Seattle to give me this opportunity. I love being here, and they are so supportive of me and my channel that I highly recommend you come down and check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I have a ton of projects, more car reviews, you name it. Make sure to check it out. Subscribe to the channel. I really would appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.